Hi, I hope you are good. I'm sure by now you must have been through a lot of videos trying to find an easy way to create consistent characters without using too complex prompt engineering or training a custom model that yields no result when it comes to generating multiple stories and multiple characters, because it's impossible almost to generate like hundreds of different characters and consistent characters throughout the stories. So for example, if you're working on stories based website where you generate children's stories, or you're trying to create a different sort of apps that requires you to generate consistent characters, it's hard to do it with OpenAI modules. Most of the modules available online. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm gonna open up my cursor. So in .env file, I've already added Leonardo API key. So now I'm gonna go to main.py, and then I'm gonna copy the response of, for example, you can come to documentation in Leonardo AI, and I'm gonna simply copy paste this code, and we are going to paste it on our code. So just give me a second. Let's improve the layout, and now let's make it a bit bigger. Now, since we are going to utilize Python, so we have to initialize some libraries, which is one is request models, and then we are going to import OS as so for loading of Leonardo API key from .env file. We are going to do from .env import load date in env, and now we are going to initialize it, and API key is equal to. Now after initializing the API key, now let's add diff generate image into, we are going to pass prompt to this function, and just the URL is going to be this, and header is going to be this, exactly like this. So cursor is actually suggesting us correct suggestions because we already pasted this code, so it's getting that information from here and is predicting what our next move is. And now we are going to add payload. So payload is going to be prompts. It's going to include prompt model ID. So yes, model ID, it's correct. It's correct. So this is exactly the model ID that we copied from Leonardo AI. So this is exactly the same. And now after this, we are going to pass a response. So request, we are going to use request module, request dot get, and it's correct. So let's result is equal to response. So now let's print that response as a result. Now let's initialize a diff. We are going to So currently we are in here, and now let's give it a try to see. So allowed method paste, method not allowed. We are yes, so we are doing get, it's actually post. So let's give it a try again. Let's see if it works. So now you can see we are getting generation ID is in SD generation job. So now let's we are trying to get hold of generation ID. So generation ID, it's already suggesting. So this is exactly the same array. So with the help of this, we are going to get hold of generation ID, and after this we are going to return generation ID. Now once we have generation ID, we are going to download image, and in here we are going to pass that generation ID, and status URL is going to be, so it's basically exactly the same URL but with the generation ID at the end. That will create a unique URL of the image that is generated with that generation ID. So again, same authorization, and for attempts, we are probably going, I think 5 attempts will be enough. So So basically we are going to attempt to get a hold of image, but because sometimes you don't get an instant result, so we are going to give it 5 tries for a model to get us the response in form of URL. If after the 5 attempts, if URL is not generated, it will break the program. So for attempts in a range of 5, so response dot status URL and headers, okay, it's correct, and if now let's pass that if generation ID download dot generation. Now let's see what result we get. So generation ID is created. Now we are also getting generation ID by PK generated images. So we are supposed to get a response URL in here, but if you look at in here in the status, you can see it's pending. So our program actually generated an instant result, but the status of the URL being generated is actually pending. So because of that, we are not getting a URL. So what we need to make sure is that status is equal to, initially we are going to have a null status, but now if generation by PK in result, then status is equal to result into generation ID. So it's in generations by PK and in here. So now now that we have get hold of the status, we need to check if status is complete. If status equals to complete, then images is equal to result generation by PK generated images, and now we are going to images. So we are going to get hold of all the images. We are targeting the image, the URL in this dictionary, JSON dictionary. So image response is equal to result target into images with write, and it's going to write down the images and save them in a local disk with images generated and the number of the image it is. So now once it's done, so we need to now make sure if status is pending. If status is pending, which is if status equals to pending, now we need to make sure that print, we need to add a print that waiting for 15 seconds. Yes, that's correct. I'm not so good with when it comes to typing, so time.sleep, and we have not initialized time module, so let's do it. Import time now. So now let's give it a prompt, and we are going to give it a cat with blue hat. So let's try this prompt and let's see how accurate it generates. So not a dictionary. Okay. Okay, it's trying to check, and it tried to check the status and it was pending. So it's now going to give it another try within a 15 second to see if there is if we get a response. As you can see, the status was pending, so it's going to wait for 15 seconds. So now it tried, and we got the image as a response, that they are being saved to local disk as well. So now you can see the images are pretty accurate with same head, a similar head at least, and then you can see the consistency in character, the detailing is pretty accurate. So with the help of this, you can generate multiple consistent character images. Apart from that, you can also pass in init image, which is a function that allows you to pass a different image, a base image, and with generation ID, and get a similar response back based on that ID of image. I hope you find this video helpful. If you have any question, if you want me to create a more detailed video on this topic with multiple characters and multiple prompts, we can do it as well. We can create a detailed video of 20 to 30 minutes that covers everything. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching this video.